Hey everyone, I'm here to share with you an interesting document. And of course, there's articles and a lot of people talking about this right now. But I'm going to give you my take on this based on my own personal experience, but also on what I believe, and of course, respecting that everyone has their own beliefs about this kind of topic. But I think it's very interesting to explore it. And so, with that being said, I'd like to share this article with. It's not an article really; it's more of the PDF file, but it's basically a document by the CIA that's been declassified on August 8, 2000. And for it to surface now, it could be that many people are, maybe it was actually released to the public now. I'm not sure because it just surfaced about a few days ago. So I just want to share with you guys what you are thinking about this. But just to show you, here it is. Here's the file. And as you can see here, let's explore some of this area and tell me what you guys think about it. But basically, it has the CIA information here. When this document was for approved for release. Here's the date, December 5, 1988. It tells you right here the time that they start. That's 9:15 to 10:45 in the morning. Uh, there's a lot of information here, like number viewer identifier, basically how they're identifying the person who's doing the remote viewing as number 32. And we keep going down. Viewer tasking, see mission statement. Here's the evaluation. Basically, it's to find out about the Ark of the Covenant. And there's all these important information. There's still some information blacked out. It could be for hiding certain things still, things that shouldn't be known yet. But here's basically a summary report that I think is very interesting. And again, you guys just tell me what you think. First, let me break down some things before I begin reading this. First, remote viewing. From my understanding, I personally know someone who does remote viewing actually, and I have personal knowledge of it, and I've seen enough evidence to believe it's real. Mainly because this individual has done it in my life, but also has done it in the lives of others. And of course, this individual that I have in mind also has worked with police to find missing bodies. And he has a very believable and evidential record of doing all of these amazing things. And he has shared with me that anyone can do it. It just is a matter of practice. And of course, you have to believe in it. Of course, there's a lot of things that a lot of us have grew up understanding. And I grew up in a very religious home where if I shared this kind of stuff with my parents, for instance, they'd call it the devil's work, so to speak. But this man has done things out of love, has done things to help mankind. It's really hard to categorize it to that direction of devil's work when this man has, done good things for others and he is recognized by many people. But now, this man I'm referring to, other people can do the same. And there's been other people, especially you can find them on YouTube and what they do and how they do remote viewing. But remote viewing, from my understanding, is in the same category as psychic, basically having the ability to see things, communicate with things, and so on. Now, I personally don't do remote viewing. I might be interested later on to experiment with it. I'm not sure. However, remote viewing in this case is to understand that an individual sends their mind to another place, another location, or another thing, or another person to basically observe, to see. Uh, I wouldn't say to influence. It's more just to observe, to be able to look at something, to understand something. How I've seen this individual in my life, how they've done it is more like they lay down, they calm down their bodies, where they're comfortable, and they close their eyes, and it's only their heart and their mind working. And from what I learned from this, and again, for those of you who do remote viewing or those of you who understand it more than me, you can correct me if I'm wrong. but basically it becomes a place of being able to access the subconscious, that deeper part of the mind where there's a lot of hidden communicate not hidden communication, where many communications can occur, and of course where one can access their spiritual gifts, their abilities, and as I mentioned, to have communication with those beyond. uh, I believe this is where remote viewing comes in. And the object of this mission for the CIA document, or this mission, is basically to locate the Ark of the Covenant. And for those of you that don't know the Ark of the Covenant, and of course also to those who do, the Ark of the Covenant is a biblical artifact that is said to contain three artifacts of importance. One of them being the tablet of Moses, the stone tablets. And so, with that being said, the other two artifacts, I already forgot what they are, but there's just that I can recall. And this was mentioned in Exodus. So you guys can have a read of the Bible in that sense. But I also understand that in the Bible, it also noted that those who mishandled the Ark of the Covenant were struck down and destroyed and killed. In other words, um, I remember Levites were the only ones that can hold the Ark of the Covenant. But again, I need to refresh myself on this. But the Ark of the Covenant, for a quick saying, is basically a biblical artifact. It's described as being a box that contains artifacts, and it is gold, from the description of the Bible, made of some wood, I think. But anyways, this is a summary report. And what I'm about to read is interesting. And all this is the notes that during that time frame that you saw, the individual was taking these notes. So, how remote viewing, as I've seen, is done is there's an individual laying down, sending their mind somewhere else, and then there's someone else recording the information, because the remote viewer, at times, I believe, cannot write down the information because they need to focus on the viewing and the information gathering, while the person that's on the side asking questions, possibly also known as the conductor, are taking notes and writing down what the other person is saying. This person didn't write sentences. He just wrote quick words, drew quick pictures based on the information provided. So let's begin reading this, which is very interesting. And again, your guys' thought is very important, but you guys can tell me what you think. Target is a container, referring to the Ark of the Covenant. This container has another container inside of it. The target is fashioned of wood, gold, and silver. The target is similar in shape to AOL, a coffin, and is decorated with seraphim. See sketch page 16. So we go down, you see on the right, it's number 2, 3, etc. So we go down to page 16. Here it is. Here's the description. How is it? It's hard to read, but it says here seraphim, basically the wings protruding. If you guys Google search or Google images on a seraphim or the Ark of the Covenant, this is exactly how it's described. So pretty much it's described exactly. It says here gold, so it's gold, and there's other information here written. I think we'll come back to this later. Uh, we go up here. This target is located somewhere in the Middle East, as the language spoken by individuals present seem to be Arabic. Now, let me tell you guys something. And again, this is my personal view, my personal value on this. But the individual I just referenced in my mind, or to you guys, more than 2 years ago, this individual also did a remote viewing of the Ark of the Covenant. And he also said the exact same thing. Yet this document is surfacing now, a few days ago. I'm inclined to believe, because of what I know from this other individual, but this is a document back in 1988. That means there's been people working on this for a while now. Being number 32, it could also be there's a number 31, 30, 30, 29, etc., right? But to see two people and others who also said the same thing, and you guys can do your own search on this if you believe in this, but they all said the same conclusions. that the Ark of the Covenant is located in an Arabic location in Middle East. Visuals of surrounding buildings indicated the presence of mosque domes. See page 12. We go down to page 12. Here we have the description of the mosque dome. I think this is windows, white, right? And that definitely does look like Islamic in nature. Individuals in the area were clothed in virtually all white, had black hair and dark eyes. One figure I homed in on wore a mustache. So remote viewing allows you to send your mind and be like an observer that they can't see you, but you can see them. But I imagine there's it's I don't understand it, and I don't think any of us is meant to understand that. But again, I'm not sure. I speak with little knowledge on that topic. The target, aside from my own personal um, evidence and my own experience of seeing another person do it, the target is hidden, underground, dark, and wet, where all aspects of the location of the target. So that's interesting. It's basically hidden from the public. It's hidden, and maybe the reason should be made clear in the following paragraphs. The purpose of the target is to bring a people together. See page 16. So we go down to page 16. It's right here. I don't know what that word is. I don't know what that means. Death, resurrection, homage, protection, together a people, important historical, spiritual knowledge, lessons, information, coffin, right? And here's the seraphim picture again. It has something to do with ceremony, memory, homage, the resurrection. There is an aspect of spirituality, information, lessons, and historical knowledge far beyond what we now know. Now, that's very interesting. Again, a CIA document is noting this. So, for them to explore something, the Central Intelligence Agency, to find this kind of information, and for us to understand that there's something beyond our knowledge, right? It's again, we don't know anything. What the CIA does, we don't know. I don't know, right? It's and like any government, there's always a secret uh, groups of people discovering, researching things that we don't comprehend. Perhaps it should be like that, and perhaps it should not. It's really definitely a controversial thing, but here it is that the CIA is exploring this. That means that there is some truth to this. There is some truth to this matter. And for a historical fact that has only been mentioned in the Bible actually existing, it calls into question the legitimacy of the Bible itself. And of course, me being a believer already, I'm a firm believer that this is all real, mainly because of my given understanding on the other side, meaning of remote viewers and what people can do, and even verifying certain things about the Bible. To me, I see it as factual, right? I see it because these people and this individual I think about has done amazing things for other people, abilities that they claim that other people have, but we all have to practice it. But again, whether you believe it or not, it's really up to you. Just to throw a little side note, a very brief one, but I grew up in a very religious home where, if I told this to my parents, they'd call it devil's work. But again, we don't know that in of itself, right? And of course, I could have fallen in line believing in this, but I had faith. I sought out answers. I asked questions, and I even had a remote viewer and someone that is sidekick work in my life. And again, this individual was able to point out things that I did not know, and some things that I was in shock to think that they would know this information. And again, I can be very specific, and perhaps in a later video, I will be very specific. But for the briefest of synapse, to so I can continue, is so much so that the way I tell my wife is that the only way this person would know this information is if they saw me naked, so to speak. If they were able to go inside my body And technically, remote viewing is exactly just like that, able to see exactly the cause of the problem. Things and again, I knew, but I never told this person, and yet they were able to see it clear as day. That to me was enough evidence to believe that there is more gifts, more abilities out there that is far beyond my knowledge for now. But my initially when I first engaged in that, it was very interesting. Very, very interesting. I know I'm being vague, everyone, but again, the purpose of this video is to shed some light on my own personal beliefs, but also what you think. The target is protected by entities. See page 14. Now, when you think about entities, that's an interesting word choice. When we see a human, a person, right? When we see a person, we think a human being, a person, white skin, dark skin, whatever. When we see an animal, we refer to them as animal, right? Or if we see a plant, we refer to them as a flower, a plant, or a tree, right? But to call something an entity, it means it has no actual form to be described. So we're here on page 14. So entities refers right here, spirits, ghost. So whatever these entities are, they are in line to these kind of in the realm of this, the spirits and ghosts. Metallic. There's other information here. Uh, tired. Something. Knowledge. Go to the container and open it up. Describe it as you go. This is basically the conductor asking questions. Altered something. Swells. Decoy. It's very interesting. So basically, like how you opened it, I suppose. And so we go back up. Okay, so ghosts or spirits. That's how basically in the notes they described it, the entities. And can only be opened now by those who are authorized to do so. This container will not cannot be opened until the time is deemed correct. Now that's really interesting. What time would that be the correct? What time does that look like? Once it is time to open the container, the mechanics of the lock system will be found to be fairly simple, meaning it will be easy to open. So right now it's complicated to open, but when the time is right, the box itself will adjust itself to be fairly easy to open. That's very interesting. Individuals opening the container by prying or striking are destroyed by the container's protectors. Oh, so the ghost or the spirits, they have power. See page 17 through the use of power unknown to us. So we go down to page 17, and here's what it describes. You guys tell me what you think about this. Page 17. Here we have the word wealth, information, knowledge, and here we have scared. I can't read that word. I see here heat, light, searing, burning, destroyed, pain, anguish, horror, terror, quick, death, scared, burned, light, power, forbidden, protected, and lasting. That sounds very, very, how would I say, powerful. I see the word here, striking. I can't read that one. So, and then there's other images here because that was the end of the summary report, but that looks like a tank. So perhaps this is outside the building, maybe. Some slopes, other stuff, brick walls, the kind of thing that you'd see in like in mosque or in giant temples. They also describe other information. Let me go down here just for you guys who are interested. And again, you guys can pause this or find this PDF on your own. There's a mosque right here. They have mummies. Watched by whom? So there's mummies. They're all wrapped within the building inside a container. Quick, or is this a description of the container? Break, coffin, passage by plight light watching mission. I think tranquility. No. Anyways, many places. So I guess there's mummies there that they have in the building. Very interesting, everyone. I see here the word people. So this is all left to wonder, all left to question. And of course, as this individual that does remote viewing, has shared, is that, you need to have evidence. And the only evidence you can have is if you see it with your own eyes, or you come to an understanding of it. So it's natural that many people will not believe in this, and that's okay. I'm not here to force anyone. Again, in God Almighty's eyes, I would believe is free will, and free will is you get to decide what you want to decide on, what you want to believe in, and what matters is, do you want to help people or do you not want to help people? Again, I'll speak loosely on that because no one understands the mind of God Almighty. No one. And no one should ever claim that they do. And even if I misspoke there, then I apologize. But even then, no one understands God Almighty. I don't. A mind such so vast like that. But here's the Ark of the Covenant, everyone. And I think it's so interesting that such an artifact is still existent. And there is a museum right now, for example, that has the staff of Moses. And again, one would believe it could be fake, but then why would the museum publish this to be fake? Yet they have historical evidence. They have some information, some record of the past of this, and people are led to believe that and inclined to believe that the staff of Moses is real. And so that's how we do information. We find enough information, and then we make a judgment call. Even when we say we don't believe in something, we still need to have a basis for it. We still need to believe. We still need to have some kind of evidence for that. Why we think it's not real, right? And it can't just be from our own words. We need to be able to see something, read something, know something, right? And so, whenever a claim is being said, it's important to find evidence. Now, even though I shared some things that are on my side personal, they are of value to me. And for me, again, quickly to be said is that thanks to this person who has said something in my life, I have come to a much healthier state, physically, spiritually, and that's why I'm a believer in this. However, again, this is everyone's different. You're all going to believe in something differently. I'm still a hardworking individual. I still have to live my life, right? But there's some things out there that we don't understand. Much of the ocean is still unexplored. We don't know what's beyond this planet and the stars. We haven't searched and walked all continents in this lifetime, right? So I think it's important that we are open minded and just reviewing this and what do you guys think? An actual declassified CIA document. Whether you believe it or not, I think it's still important to ask questions. Why did the CIA work on this kind of stuff? Who was this individual, this remote viewer that was used? Were there others? This was number 32. Is this program still going on, or was there a lack of funding, for example, to continue this program? Will it allow people not buying it, or was it too much? Right? There's a lot of questions that can go around this kind of topic. But for now, this is all I have to say. And I want to say thank you guys for taking the time to watch this video. And I'm actually very intrigued to hear what you think about this. I think this is so fascinating. This will definitely call a lot of legitimacy for the Bible. And I'm totally all game for that. I know that in this life, it's important to have love, to treat others with kindness in a world where many would choose to live by their ego, be very earthly, animalistic, very grounded. But I am a firm believer there's something beyond, and we're here to learn, to grow, live our human experience, and ultimately find our way back home, which is with God Almighty. But again, I'll stop there, and you guys have a wonderful day and tell me what you guys think about this video and this information. All right, bye now.